Operational procedures. Entrance and exit point procedures. All visitors are identified using government-issued photo ID, for example driver's license, passport, or national ID card. Every visitor must be registered, and a log maintained for a minimum of 30 days. Visitor badges, or passes must be displayed and visible, and all visitors are escorted by company personnel. The visitor badges must be reconciled as the visitor leaves the premises. The full log needs to be checked daily. The visitor policy has to be documented. All drivers are identified, using government-issued photo ID, which is not expired, and matches the driver, for example a driver's license, passport, or national ID card. A driver log must be maintained. Vehicle identifiers are logged manually, or with cameras. Included at a minimum is the license plate and the vehicle type. The LSP's authorized workforce and escorted visitors have permitted, but restricted access to dock and warehouse areas, based on a business need. The access list must be reviewed at least quarterly. The processes must be documented. Written security procedures define how the entry of personal containers into the warehouse is controlled. If allowed by local law, the LSP must develop and maintain a documented exit search or inspection procedure. Documented procedures need to be in place to restrict employees, visitors, and contractors' access to buyers' assets. Inbound and outbound, freight handover and fraudulent pickup process. Unless mutually agreed between buyer and LSP, preloading, or parking of dedicated buyers' trucks during non-operational hours externally of the warehouse facilities is not allowed. A documented protocol, requiring all forklift and other powered cargo handling equipment being disabled during non-operational hours, must be in place. There must be a documented 7-point physical inspection process, or equivalent checks performed for all outbound dedicated buyers' containers or trailers in place. Within direct non-stop shipment there must be a process in place for the use of tamper-evident security seals, electronic, or manual, that meets the ISO 17712 standard, unless on buyer's exemption. The LSP must have documented procedures in place for management and control of seals, trailer door locks, pin locks and other security equipment. For buyer-dedicated truckloads, seals must be affixed and removed only by authorized and trained personnel, other than the driver, unless on buyer's exemption. There must be a robust procedure in place, ensuring that all buyer assets shipped and received are validated at point of handover by conducting a manual or electronic piece count. The process must be documented and ensure abnormalities are consistently recognized, documented, and reported to the LSP or buyer. Manual or electronic records must be of evidential quality. If drivers are not present to witness this activity, the LSP or buyer must ensure alternative count verification. The incoming truck driver ID and collection documentation must be valid, and where the buyer requires, a process that ensures the details match the pre-alert received has to be in place. The local documented procedures for handling buyers' assets and escalation of security incidents to the buyer must be in place. A process for timely reporting of lost, missing, or stolen buyers' assets is necessary. Incidents must be reported by the LSP to the buyer within 24 hours. Obvious thefts must be reported immediately. Emergency buyer and LSP facility management contacts for security incidents must be listed and available. Emergency contacts of the buyer and the LSP or applicant facility management need to be listed and available. The listing includes law enforcement emergency contacts and has to be updated at least every 6 months. Access to shipping documents and information on buyers' assets must be controlled, monitored, and recorded, based on those who need to know. The documents have to be safeguarded until destruction. A security incident reporting and tracking system must be in place and used to implement proactive measures. The LSP must maintain records of all collections and proof of deliveries for a period of not less than 2 years, which can be accessed if investigation of loss is necessary. Proof of delivery must be provided in accordance with a written agreement between the buyer and the LSP. Where the buyer requires, a pre-alert process applied to inbound and outbound shipments is to be provided. Details must be agreed between the buyer and LSP. Suggested details include departure time, expected arrival time, trucking company, driver name, license plate details, shipment info, and trailer seal numbers.